Everyone, to another RGL cast. My name is Jared. I'm here with TC the Monitor, bringing you guys Franzj Presents versus Jiminy. This is RGL Invite 6's Season 17, Week 9B. It is the last casted regular season match before we head off into the playoffs on April 5th and 6th. And we got quite the predicament on our hand. All these weeks ago, we were talking about what we considered teams to be, realistically making the playoff spots. And, you never count out the technicalities, because even though there's many matches to be counted over the course of many weeks, you never really know what can actually happen despite what you might think would happen on paper. Upsets galore, etc., etc. And despite a lot of people, including us, kind of feeling like Jiminy's, they've been doing pretty good, they're relatively safe, the stars have kind of aligned in a way where they're technically can still get out. We've actually done the math at this point, and there's a variety of scenarios that are pretty realistically could happen where Jiminy finishes this match and they don't make playoffs and the Cell get in instead. So it is a very tight race. Franzj is also trying to steal back their second seed they've held on for a long while now. That's also in the cards, and even though the difference between second and third is only so much, it can affect the map pick bans to make sure that you have your advantage on the third map ban if you want to, if you end up playing the third map. So a lot on the line here. Definitely way more for Jiminy than Franzj, and what a map to finalize the regular season on than CP Granary.
It's one of the first times I think we've seen it on the cast. Maybe I'm wrong, but for such a tight and, like you said, very important game for so many teams, the two kind of bubble playoffs teams, Granary is maybe the perfect way to round out, what you said has been such an amazing season. I mean, the Cell, they've just got to be looking on in anticipation because it is completely out of their hands. I mean, we can go over the map later, but there are a number of ways that they'll be able to get into playoffs, and they're kind of a team that at the beginning of the season, we thought, all right, they're going to be able to make it. I thought they were for sure, maybe, top 3, top 2, at the very early stages when, G6 were looking a little bit weaker. I thought the Cell were definitely a shoo-in for playoffs then. They had those weaknesses. They kind of had a second stage, a second halfway point season comeback. And they were looking pretty good, but it was almost not enough, and it could still not be enough. But the worst part for them, it's not in their hands. It's down to Jiminy. They've looked so good, so consistent, really, throughout the season that it does feel weird to see them here, that there is a possibility that they won't make it in. Regardless, though, Franzj, they're essentially the kingmakers tonight. Anything they do is going to have a very big impacts, both in their seeding, like you said, and also the seeding of Jiminy and the Cell at the end of this match. So definitely a match to watch. Should be a really close one. The last time these two teams played, I think it was only a 1-round differential between them. So either way, I think it's going to come down to the wire, which, depending on the rounds won from Franzj, could be a good thing for Jiminy or a very, very bad thing.
I think the big thing about this season, realistically looking back on it, is earlier on, you had all these teams that you're like, there's so many good teams, who's going to make playoffs? And then, a couple weeks go by and Greasy Dot Hogs die, and you're like, oh, okay, I mean, it's still a good season, but, with a team dying, there's more room, it's less of a contest who's going to get in, and that's kind of like the mindset, but you still have to actually count, like, the teams that have talent on them, and it's like, wait, no, there's like 6 teams that full of playoff players on them. You get rid of one just because they died, there's still 5. You get to this point where it's like, oh, wait, no. I mean, sure, it's not 2 teams that are going to miss out on playoffs you'd think would get in, but it's still 1. Now we're finally hitting that realization. It's like, oh, wait, all these teams that got a lot of talent that you'd think have the opportunity to make it, and, one of them, it's not going to quite make the cut. So the realization is really dawning on everyone now, and man, what a map to end it out on, Granary. It is probably going to be, I mean, maybe not. You've seen some rollier Granary matches, depending. But considering these two teams, like you said, they had a pretty close scoreline last time they played. I believe it was on Metalworks or something along those lines. It was, pretty close. Not really a 5-0 roll or anything like that, so I can kind of see something similar maybe this time, especially considering Granary is the staple 7 CP map of the pool. You can look at the bans now on your screen to see how we ended up on this. There's definitely a theme with the Franzj reaction to the first 3 bans, getting rid of Koth out of the pool, but definitely the Jiminy bans are kind of all over the place. It doesn't seem like the super theme necessarily in the maps per se, more than just like maybe scrim results.
No, 100%. Maybe just scrim results. And, maybe the vibe, it also could be something like that. They're like, we've played enough of Gully Wash. Let's do something different. Maybe assuming that they are going to make it into playoffs. They just want to try and expand that map pool and see if there's maybe anything else that they can have in their back pocket when the pick bans really start to matter a little bit more. Because, last night they had the opportunity to do that against like a G6. They didn't do their map picks and bans. They chose process. Didn't end up going too well for them. So they've at least learned from that. But because of that, they're in a very, very tricky position. And Gully Wash, on one hand, I think it does. I understand why Jiminy have picked it. They have a lot of talented players, not to say that Franzj doesn't, but the players on Jiminy, generally, with a few outliers like Blank, have a lot more experience in history on this map. They've been playing at the top level for a bit longer than the people on Franzj. Franzj really just has Exile, who's maybe played Granary at a high competitive level at the same experience that the other people on Jiminy do. So I understand it from that point of view, but also when I think of Franzj, I think of Donovan going banner, going spy. I think of Yum Yum getting in behind, and maybe you have to take a 1v1 with him. Maybe him even off-classing onto Pyro, because we've seen that trying to push onto Granary second a couple of times. In a weird way, I think like Granary is more of a Franzj map just from a team point of view and a playstyle point of view. But when you look at the experience, it goes to Jiminy, which makes it so close to really know how it's going to play out, Jared.
It's really hard to say who to really favor, because all of this is on paper, and realistically, Granary involves so many minute details within not only yourself, but coordinating as a team to make sure you got all the nooks and crannies down to like make sure no one slips through the cracks and gets behind, because that wastes so much time. And making sure that you're all on point, not getting cut off because the map is not S-shaped. Dealing with whatever plays that might come out, especially if there's going to be extra shenanigans like banners or whatever. Also, in a different era of Granary where you don't have 9 minutes to bite off the clock to get your play going, a lot of those pyro plays are extremely slow. And if you have to spend so much time to take yard, you're not going to have very much time left to sack, bring in a pyro, whatever, screw around on 2. So there's a lot of, even the sniper plays are like, okay, you ran a sniper play and took yard, what's next, right? So we might see a lot of mid resets, it kind of depends, but it's difficult because your previous Granary experience only matters so much, I feel like, with so little time left. Because a lot of the stalemateness of Granary was teams biding their time because they had so much of it. So now you kind of have to run things. And if you're not able to have it all down, especially because this is not necessarily a map that's played as much as it used to be, who's to say your execution is going to be on point to actually start converting these caps to keep the timer up and keep gaining more ground in your favor. So I think it's kind of a toss-up to kind of say who is going to be better on paper, per se. One thing I am kind of excited for is I want to see how Psy plays Granary when he's not on Pocket Soldier. I kind of expect him to play the exact same way, but just on Scout instead. So that might be kind of cool to see. I'm also kind of curious to see how Donovan will play Granary, because I don't think we've seen too much of him play Granary at a high level, and the more and more we watch him play these choky maps, it really shows how much he excels on them. So this is a rare opportunity, I think, when it comes to Cass's matches for Donovan fans to kind of see what he's made of. But probably need to talk about Preds. What are you thinking, TC?
Oh, I mean, it's so difficult because we kind of said it's really a toss-up just when you look on paper and also in the actuality of it. I don't think, just even looking at these two teams and the seasons that they've had, I can't say that one is necessarily better than the other. Sure, Franzj have had the upset wins against like a G6, but then again, Jiminy have looked a lot better against both Franzj, they won the matchup last time, and then also against Froyotech, Jiminy have had really strong performances against them. I am going to say, I think for some reason, I think Franzj might be able to walk away with it. I think either team's going to be able to walk away with it. I'm going to say Franzj. I think it's going to be a slow game just because it is Granary. I don't know how much these teams have scrimmed it throughout the regular season. I'm going to say Franzj 3-2-1.
I think that Granary is going to be so mid-fight dependent, like it normally is, that you need to be able to adjust. On one hand, I feel like Jiminy been popping off really lately. I think Artis has been going absolutely crazy on a lot of these chokier maps where he gets to live and do really well, but because Granary is such a map that kind of prevents you from playing the game if they want to kill you if you're just playing medic or demo, that I feel like it might be slightly in Franzj's favor to be able to adapt as quickly as I think that they would be able to when it comes to mid-fight strategies. I kind of respect their adapting ability a whole lot. And we just saw a lot of Jiminy having some mid-fight issues where if they were too passive, they were getting bullied, but if they were really aggressive, their execution just wasn't on point. Granted, that was versus a different team. It was versus G6. So, it's kind of apples and oranges, but it's still, it's still kind of in my mind. So I think gut reaction has me leaning towards like a Franzj, like 3-0 or something. But really no talent. Could be even less rounds collected. It is 7 CP Granary after all.
It is indeed, and I think at this point, maybe our best opportunity to go down the map in hopefully a viewer-friendly format, because before this, we were crunching the numbers, mostly Jarrett, so shout-outs to you for doing that, but we were able to figure out what the exact scorelines are that, if you're a Cell fan, you've been locked up in there for basically the whole second half of the season, anticipating to see if maybe you can be let out, have a jailbreak going on. The means for your escape are going to be a very particular set of scorelines. First of all, Jiminy have to lose this game. If Jiminy win, they are guaranteed for playoffs. But then if they do lose it, it matters by how much they lose it by.
Yep. For Jiminy to stay in, obviously they don't need to win, but if they let's think of it this way, and I'll talk about it slowly. In a situation where Franzj wins and Jiminy loses, for Jiminy to still make it in, if Franzj only collects 2 rounds, because it's Granary, you've seen some 2-0s and stuff like that, Jiminy are fine. They only have a couple rounds against them, they're good. So a 2-0, Jiminy's fine if they lose that. If Franzj collects a 3rd round, Jiminy need to put a round on the board. They can't get 3-0'd, or they lose their spot and the Cell take it. If they get a round and lose 1-3, they're fine. They're good. Their percentage will be high enough. But if a 4th round is gained, and Franzj wins with 4 rounds, Jiminy need 3. They gotta jump all the way up. They gotta make it a close game. A 1-4 won't cut it. A 2-4 won't cut it. The Jiminy dreams will be dead. They'll lose their spot. And if Franzj wins with a full 5 rounds, Jiminy's screwed. There's nothing they can do. That's too many rounds against them. Their percentage is going to be too low. So once again, they are fine with a 0-2. They're fine with a 1-3. They're fine with a 3-4. They are really hoping that a 5 doesn't happen. And of course, obviously, if they win, they win. They're fine. That's just if they lose, it's not all for naught. It just kind of depends on the scoreline. So if that's too much to keep track of, then just hope that Jiminy wins and you don't have to care about the map. But if it's starting to look dire for them, then you actually have to look at the numbers and be like, oh, how much are they losing by? So it's really gonna all shake down, and we're gonna be in a whole lot of suspense here because it's really coming down to the wire.
It really is. Franzj have such an important match on their hands that doesn't even really affect them. I mean, maybe it does in terms of playoffs, and maybe there's a team that they'd prefer to play against. Maybe they have a better read on one or the other. But regardless, they are the kingmakers on this match tonight. They basically decide, sure, I mean, Jiminy have a part in it, but Franzj, they are the independent party. They kind of really decide who is going to be joining them in playoffs. Is it going to be Jiminy, who've been kind of solid throughout, or is it going to be the Cell, who've had a late resurgence in the second half of the season? We're going to see. It's all going to be decided here tonight. I am so excited as we go live on the final map, the final match of the regular season, Jiminy versus Franzj here on Granary. Jarrett, take us away on this last first mid fight.
It's been a long time since we've seen a Granary mid, but both demos rolling out catwalk. Sam will immediately fall. I think he got hit by the ornament, but he will go ahead and take the pack, looking like a left side mid, pretty classic from the side of Franzj. Mostly just trading sides. Artist getting kind of bullied. He's dropping pretty low, but Wall Guy dropped down to 6 HP. The pack is up for him, so he's alive for now. But Divine he's kind of in the same boat. They pretty much traded sides almost entirely, and Logai, he's on crits. He has a spot he could use if he stays alive here, and they're running forward. Able to take out ours. The bomb from the eye pops Logai into the air. The final rocket won't connect. They're getting cleaned up on Jiminy, but the final rocket, it's a drop. It was a crit. He wasn't able to Uber to keep himself invulnerable. Just go ahead and drop it. Maybe he could, you know, find a way for the rocket to miss, but not so lucky there. But overall, despite the late medic death and the salvage coming in from Jiminy, Franzj trading sides and keeping half their team alive, taking the first cap and allowing them to maybe get a little presence into yard. They got the forwards. They can probably manage it.
Yeah, they should be able to manage it. Zam has immediately gone up the drop down, which Yite has checked. That is one of the many quirks of Granary, is this drop down that connects second over into Yard, and it seems like they want to try and fight Yard. Blank taking a lot of damage. Yum Yum running into the lunchbox, gets the pick. Oh, but Sam going to be taken down. Nice pipe from Artis with the lock and load. Is going to be traded out, so no demos on the field right now. Donovan trying to pressure in. Gungan maybe trapped over in Y, is taking a lot of damage. Is actually going to be arrowed and stays alive. Gets the trade out, but Franzj, they're just taking so much space, and then they've been able to bully their way into Yard and onto second proper.
Yep, pretty even right now. Actually, I think, if anything, Red should have had a small amount of ad, but definitely not usable, so it doesn't really matter. But overall, nothing too much really happening. We got Blank up on Sniper in case someone tried to go ahead and jump in, and Sai will finally go up on Engineer to build up the gun, make it hard for the sack to happen. Got way less time than you usually do if you've been watching Granny for a long time, so it's only so many attempts that Franzj actually get here. They're trying to poke through this right-hand side, putting some damage onto Artis. The double bomb comes in, and Zam will go ahead and give up his life, so that's a sack coming from the blue team. Red team, maybe a bit on the move. None of the off classes are per se. I mean, the gun's gonna get moved a bit, but it doesn't seem like anyone's really interested in going for the sack. And honestly, this is a 7 CP map. Not surprised. Every day, you don't counter sack on this last and run down the clock when it's this low. Don't bother. Keep the spam up. And you'd much rather go ahead and say screw it and replay the mid-fight than try to go ahead and find a way to retake two. But Donovan, he thinks he has a solution, has a little bit of time left to go ahead and get there. It's a bit of an awkward timing in terms of you might have some spy paranoia, wondering why they're not sacking, so he's got to get something going sooner rather than later, but might be able to find an opportunity depending on how these teams are holding.
Oh, apparently he's on stock, so he has to make something happen. He has decloaked and he has been found out, so that spy play not working out at all. Maybe a little bit of a misplay considering, you know, Donovan, he is the spy master. Maybe he thought, you know, the regular cloak and dagger was a little bit too easy. He thought he'd challenge himself with the stock instead, but Blank is up on Sniper. He's looking over at the shorter door, just waiting for someone to peek it or open it. He gets a nice shot onto Sam, not enough to get the kill, but Sam kind of trapped out of second. For the meantime, he has to wait, get an arrow. Now he's going to be able to make his way back in as Franzj still trying to pressure this. They've only got a 2 minutes left on the round timer before going to a round reset. Yum Yum goes in and dies, and that's probably going to be the call for him to come up on an off class. If I had to bet Jarrett, probably Sniper.
Yeah, Don was on spy for a little bit, but I don't know I think he was checking, really, to see if the other team was running anything funny, but, I mean, he could snipe, but you only have so much time left, realistically, so he's got to pull something out. He's going to go ahead and come up on Scout normally. Zam ends up dying to the gun. There's only so much you can really do here, because you got to find a way to get the exchange out over this ground and kill the gun for the post, and then rotate out, rotate back in. Might be a bit awkward. It's possible, but we'll see how it goes. Because you're for what? Maybe got one sack left, if that, and even then it's kind of getting a little on the sketchier side. Still possible, but buffs going out to the blue team. Zam finally here was a bit weak, but the sniper's going to be a pain, really. They got to find a way to get on him if they go for the exchange and maybe flash a soldier to go ahead and bomb him in the back line. It's not like he can be saved, really, if they can get back there. Divine's pretty far away, and Artis only can get beamed every now and then, if depending on where the Uber goes, but they get the gun. Donovan gave up his life for it, though, and that's usually how this happens. You know, you're able to get this gun, but at what cost? And now it kind of looks like even more sketchy to go ahead and go for the exchange, but you're kind of forced to. 50 seconds left. Yum Yum going in. Zam as well, sniped out of the sky. Yum Yum just cuts it short early, and Sam, barely living on 7 HP, will hit the arrow, but Blank says, no, you're not allowed to leave, and gets the kill on a Yum Yum as well at the last second. They found a way to claw themselves out onto two, not going for the round reset, would rather go ahead and cap this up, but a Z exchange, Donovan He's going for it.
They're just going in. Oh my god, the trade over onto the point. They get 2 Exile, find Gungan and Artist, and now they're just immediately coming in. They haven't captured up second. They could still capture this up flank. Is going to go down. Sai might try and run to try and capture up second, recognizing that fact, but there's going to be people there to block him now. Divine is all left alone. They're getting on the point. They get the first round.
You know one of those guys would be like, dude, why did we just sit at last? Like, why did we push out, guys? Also, what a family Uber. Like, they came in with the firepower of 2, got 2 kills, 2 people dropped. Red team was also, they executed that cap a little too leisurely. They thought there's no way they'd be contested, and they got super punished for it. So, arguable mistake about leaving last, sure, but definite mistake on how they positioned themselves when they actually decided to go for the cap. Once again, another mid, both demos rolling up catwalk. Sam immediately bullied. It's fine for now. The pack's kind of in the danger zone, but Sam will be the first to die. It's fine for now. Sam, lock and loaded, killed by the bomb from Gungan, and they gave up Divine, but overall, they've won the mid for the most part. Trying to see if they can get more. It's just log on Exile, and they are chasing them down. Exile a bit weak. Thought about going for the pack. They split different directions. Logai all alone needs to arrow up the world right now. Maybe a saving grace from one of the soldiers. Gets the 1 kill on the Gungan. Sai and Yite are still on the field. Backed into a corner. 1 rocket will seal the deal. Logai falls. Zam collects 2 kills, but not quickly enough. That is an extremely late medic. That Divine is already alive. Mid is capped up. There's cap time on 2 to threaten a bat cap. Franzj are not in a good way right now this round.
They really are not. Seems like they're going to try and take all the space that they possibly can, which is going to be a little bit of yard for the moment. A bit of cap time on the point for Jiminy, but they're too far away to really make use of this. Divine is going to have around about 20% Uber, so definitely able to use it, but this is, like you said, the 7 CP map, and taking yard can be an Uber use of its own, but they should be able to get it. Looks like Franzj are just going to back up and let them have it now. It is a case they could take it in, but it's not that big Uber. It actually seems like they're just going to try and pressure the point. Franzj, however, playing very far back, not contesting it at all, really. It's only really Donovan trying to spam, and Sam with some stickies as well. They're not committing, but I think they probably could if they realize how close the Uber is. But Gungan jumping down, so much damage, takes down Donovan, and also gets the force out as well.
Yeah, 2% left. Logai able to get the Uber in time. Killing Artist, they're probably going to chase down the enemy team. This Uber's already over. Divine and No Man's Land will get scattered down. Exile killing 2. Sai and Yite still on the field. Might see a flank from Blank coming in. Wants to find the way on the Logai. The bomb in. Some damage spread all around. They're all on top of each other. They almost swipe, but it's actually Jiminy that completely goes in and gives up their team. So they salvaged things at the tail end. The start wasn't great. They managed to make it look okay, but overall it will be a Franzj victory. They'll go ahead and get this cap up. There are a couple respawners though. They do recognize the heal advantage from the red teams. That gives them the opportunity to take yard. It allows them to spam these players who they know don't have beam.
Sam's hiding. He's in.
They barely don't get it, but oh, in the air? Fine, 18 HP. They do get this cap going their way though. That was almost extremely scary, but Jiminy's still holding on, but can't say the same for Yite.
No, Yite being taken down there. Gungan is also very weak over by Z. Is going to have to back out, wait for an arrow, does get it. Franzj, they could have peeked maybe a little bit more, but they are just going to stabilize over on second. Ubers are essentially going to be even because Divine, even though he spawned earlier once again with that little foray with that bomb from a Zam, he's instead just going to be at evens with Divine, so with Logai, so it's going to be a stalemate across the board. An opportunity for Jiminy to start getting a little bit creative here, start trying to pressure these choky doorways with their soldiers. You can already see Gungan over in Z to try and maybe pressure some spam onto the point, but now for Franzj, they just have to lock down all these doors, make sure they don't let Jiminy have any better spam trade whatsoever, and try and punish them if they get a bit too aggressive.
Yeah, the scary thing about this hold for 2 is mostly ammo conservation realistically, because you don't have the ammo boxes really. You have to either go in danger zone by the point, or you have to leave completely to last. Blank has found his way behind. Donovan's actually he's just dead. He's right above them. They're getting so bullied right now. They're just standing above them on the catwalk. Yum Yum tried to show up upper to maybe get a kill. It's going to be Zam that's able to help kill him. And they almost got Blank as well, but Gungan runs forward with his buff, able to take down Zam. It's kind of a bloodbath. Artists might be able to die around the corner if they run to him, but no, they're distracted by the combo. Exile gets dropped! They pop for the exchange to save him, and they don't have the means to get up on the catwalk. they lose their Uber, they lose their attempt at the Uber exchange and just get absolutely pressure cooked.
That is so unfortunate for Franzj, but it's going to be very, very good if you're Jiminy, because now you've got full 100% Uber advantage. Exile just now respawning. Donovan getting an early pick on the Gunkin, going for the screw, and a lot of damage. Gets the pick on the Artist with the help of Sam, finds another onto Sai. In this Uber advantage that they have, they're still going to have it, but it's going to be a lot closer. Trying to go in, maybe a little bit of a try fight, maybe unwise from Jiminy. They might have to give up second. Yeah, it seems like he wants to go in with the Uber, just take it and recognize them. They're close. They find one onto Zam. Can they find any more? Exile might be caught, but Blank is going to be the one that goes down, getting dropped. It's a solo soldier Uber, but it's not 2008 anymore. It doesn't work out, and Franzj managing to hold on and try and refight second.
Gunkin! He still gets so much damage.
Oh my god.
Volguy, 94%, 16 HP. Yum Yum has to run to him. The bomb comes from Yite. He wants to get the kill. No, the Uber comes out. They're trying to kill the soldier. Yum Yum with the Zork chasing him down, kills him on the pipe, but that's going to be the only kill they get. A successful force from Yite. Divine still up in the field with 50%. They have almost their entire team up though. Franzj, they know there's no soldiers there yet. They could poke, but no. They don't want to go against it. They want to go ahead and set up the gun. You know, play what they think is going to be their strong suit right now. 50% disad. Yite respawning. Cookie cutter across the board for the side of Jiminy. Time to climb up and pick a door unless you want to go towards one of the shutters. And it's looking like it's going to be left-hand side from their attacker's perspective.
Donovan hiding over in the upper area, but the Uber is going to come in. Artist immediately takes down the Centric, and now bombing over onto the right side. They find one onto Donovan. He was a hider. They get so much cap time onto the point. Finally, all the frags are falling in their favor. It's only going to be 3 alive, a heavy and a demo, and Volguy trying to do everything to fight against the world. Sam does get one, but it's not going to be enough. A 1-1 game. Tie game. So incredibly close.
Yep. Round on the board for Jiminy, tying it up, and honestly, a very good safety net. Right now, you know, Franzj could collect 2 more rounds and end the game there, and it would still be enough for Jiminy to make playoffs. So definitely that first round on the board is a little bit of a sigh of relief and give you at least a little bit of safety net to keep you in the game. Not for the match, but in the game, like, of the season, long term. You'll see Sam rolling out on the floor this time. He's been bullied a lot on the catwalk, and we'll make sure he has the HP to continue living in this fight. I think one of the ornaments hit one of the blue scouts, but they get healed up, and they're fine for now. Overall, trading sides, once again, garage control. Oh my god, they just melted. They're all on top of each other. They're locking those across the map, I can only assume. I mean, they got the kill on the Divine, though, so there's no heals. Red team has to play this fast. A 2v3 scenario. Donovan kind of alone for now. Exile's trying to come back at the right moment. He's biding his time inside the garage. Will finally jump out. Fight up one of the scouts. Able to get the kill on the side. Donovan at 2 HP. Still alive. Artist all on his lonesome on top of the crate. Falls off. Doesn't die to fall damage, but he'll die to Exile's pistol. Exile on a 4K that mid. Cleans up, cleans house, and collects this mid for his team.
Listen, Peter, all I'm saying is Exile Legacy win, Exile Legacy Part 2, because I think I already had one, but after that one, that deserves to go in another. But really great stuff for Franzj. They have control of mid. Ubers are going to be even because both medics died pretty early on into that mid fight, so if you are Jimmy, you don't have to worry too much about something happening, but it seems like we do have some shenanigans down the field. This low guy is running crits. They just shove over into yard. They find one. Yite trades out with Yum Yum. That's going to be okay for Franzj as they now have control of yard. Artist still peeking over towards the shutter door. The crits has the potential to come in. They have 100%. And this could be such a huge crits.
Oh, but this could be such a huge trap. Oh my god, look above Volguy. Please look above Volguy right now. This is spooky. And look at who's right there. He's gonna see Donovan and the beam on him and just dead. But will it happen faster than Donovan calls for the crits and just one-shots him?
This is like Schrodinger's crits. This could either be the best thing ever, or it could just be curtains for Franzj. Artist could get like potentially even like a 3K here, or Donovan could get like a whole team wipe. It is a complete do or die.
I feel like Artist gets the kill because Donovan doesn't know until he turns the corner if it's worth it to crits on the point yet. Probably.
I feel like I feel like he sees Divine.
I mean, well, keep in mind the pause isn't right here. It's not like he's staring at Divine the whole time. The pause is 90 seconds in the future. So
that would be such a tense pause.
He's coming around this corner, and the most he can think of is that Artist kind of just left, maybe. I didn't quite see. I was looking at the other side of yard. He might have been able to see that, like, oh, Artist left into inside, like through the shutter kind of late, I could blind crits around the corner and just kill him and we'll be fine. And he could maybe call for that early crits, but otherwise, besides that, he might want to, wait for a couple seconds until he sees like exactly where do I need to, shoot this first rock in. And if that's the case, then Artist just makes eye contact with him and dets and kills his medic. So there's really no telling. But I will say, it was honestly a good play to just go ahead and just cut straight into the yard. Okay. Little guy dead. It was kind of the same. Well, kind of both things. Donovan did get immediate crits out and got the 1 kill onto Gungan. But the det did come through and Logai did indeed die. So overall, they didn't get fully what they want, but overall, they're doing pretty good now. Zam, though, gets piped down, uber force. They know where Sam is. They are almost wiping the entirety of the blue team. And, I mean, honestly, great heads-up play. Getting Logai out of the way there kind of sealed the deal long-term. No heals to sustain your stealth. They got the 1 crits onto Gungan, but that's not worth it for just a soldier. Mid, I mean, realistically, kind of in the hands of the red team. Respawners not quite here yet for the blue team. Got 2 up now, still respawning. Maybe could stay here long-term if enough time is bought. The 2 kills, oh my god. That's why you keep your head poked in just in case the other team screws up. That should have been free, absolutely for red, but once again, a bit too leisurely with how that was going to be free for them, and it ends up biting them.
Yeah, it does now. It's going to be Franzj on the attack. They're super close to actual Uber this time, and they're already in on second. They might just continue going. It seems like Xi wants to do exactly that. They're going to be coming in through the left side shutter. Donovan bombing in, doing a lot of damage onto Yite. Exile finding the kill. There's Blank on the sniper. He gets taken back. Gungan taken down. They haven't even used Uber Defiant at 95%. They might get it, but it doesn't matter. They just stand on the point. They make it a 2-1 game. Franzj, and that's where the pause happened. Franzj. It was a Franzj tactical pause.
They probably want to talk about mid. Honestly, that's the second round that Jiminy loses because they're winning, and then they just like don't keep their guard up and they get screwed over in a situation that on paper was beneficial for them, but Franzj, good enough of a team, recognizes the human error and be like, no, still poke our heads, they could screw up here, and they've caught them with their pants down twice. So with this tac pause, we'll probably see a slightly different mid. They did initiate early on the Arts with the soldier bomb to see if they could take him out of the picture because he's gone super aggressive on the crates twice over now, but they're still playing ring around the road here. Logai alive with 3 HP, no target though. 3 v3 now remaining. They're all over on the blue side of the things, and Psy, last one left alive, 30 HP. It's a scout class, takes down Donovan, but Yum Yum, the sole survivor, was a Pyrrhic victory, but enough to win mid and take mid for his team.
Yeah, Yum Yum, the last one alive in the server, just is able to taunt before finally literally all of the respawners, aside from Donovan and Psy, get back up, and everyone on Franzj just going to be waiting for the forward spawns to get over to mid, and Yum Yum going to be going over into garage, just
Yum
trying
Yum.
to... Oh,
he tried to go up the drop down.
It.
Yeah, I mean, you got to try it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that is like the quirk, the drop-down thing is, scouts can sometimes do it with the atomizer and the winger, I think, or maybe the Boston Basher if you've really got the tech for it, but seems like Franzj weren't expecting Yum Yum to be able to do it because they've got Zam up on Sniper to be able to try and break this stalemate, and I've seen Sniper on this, and you can hit some shots, you have a okay angle into yard from garage, but this is one of those that it can just take forever for something to manifest, and you really have to kind of pressure Jiminy into not making a mistake, but just kind of peeking the angle at the wrong time, and then Zam gets the headshot, and things start to snowball off of that.
They are buying time, I think, trying to make them bored or think they have a spy or something. They're like, what are they doing here? Like, why aren't they sacking into us? Maybe building up some spy paranoia, thinking it's the wrong off class. Maybe thinking like, what are they doing here? Let's try to spam them. He reveals himself now. First 2 shots don't connect. They are going to adjust slightly to make sure they stay out of the sight line, but they can't let them take shots forever. They got to do something. Because they completely hide, they allow themselves to lose a lot of ground to, or at least make it really easy for a soldier to just go in and bomb instead. So they will rotate over into right yard, getting ready for some sort of play while hiding if they need to, be able to push on the right side of things and kind of catch them off guard, but end up not needing to, are back in the center on the side of Jiminy. Zam kind of rotating around, seeing if he can try to find an angle that works for him. Taking a lot of damage though. So far, Yite's been doing pretty well, applying the counter spam into the garage, make it really difficult for him to get a shot there, and his adventures over towards the choke side didn't really lead to too much either, so He's just...
Oh, Psy's just
timing.
taking the
There's
exchange.
Aggressive Uber exchange. They're leaving Zam for dead, except they do eventually have to force. They will try to chase with their better Uber. Going towards the left side of things, maybe get the kill on one of the soldiers, but no, not enough Uber remaining to chase that far. So overall, just an exchange. Probably baited out just ever so slightly, but it's kind of technically in Jiminy's favor. Just running down the clock, could go for another mid. As long as you're comfortable with your mids and going back to another mid, you'd be happy with that. So we'll see how things go from there, but... Donovan is on buff banner.
Donovan is
buff banner too, so it's not. It's just the mini crits. 600 damage. Build up the banner. Mini crits.
That can be maybe useful if another exchange happens and then they're able to repush in with the buff banner. But yeah, I mean, running down the clock isn't something that we've seen too much in a North American TF2 for a long time because infinite overtime. But even now, because infinite overtime caps the amount of rounds possible, it's still okay for Jiminy to try and play the clock because at this point, a tighter game would be beneficial for them. Things would have to change if it had a little bit more rounds for Franzj, but Blank has made his way over through the right side, making a lot of space. Yum in Garage does win against Gungan. Now that's going to force everyone on Jiminy back over into Yard to stop Franzj from getting in through.
Oh, Sam.
Over just completely in.
Oh, they've been cut off though. Wall guy is nowhere near them. They got through and didn't make sure that they kept things locked down to allow their last person, their medic, to be able to walk through. And it kind of bit them. They're trying to run back in though. They know they have ad. They gotta get an immense amount of kills. Donovan with the flank. He's cutting them off. They're all gonna die here. Divine, not long for this world. They kept him as a pet for a little bit. Sai's here, one of the soldiers here. They gotta find a way to escape now for this post. They did go a bit deep for this low guy. Running away alone. Have they bitten off more than they can chew? It looks like Blank is just barely here in time, and Sai took too much damage to actually go for the chase. Was afraid he might get arrowed, but I mean, they got Yard, Franzj, but once
There's
again,
only 5 seconds left. They have to stand on second
CP.
right now.
Yeah,
they
have
do.
heal advantage though. They have the
Just-
heal advantage. Oh, the lock
They
of
do.
on a Yite.
Lock and load onto Yite is going to make him very, very conscious about his health as, oh, nice stickies from Artist takes down Sam. Sam
Oh,
is going down. It was
The
a
cap time
stalemate.
though, it
Yeah, the
reset.
round timer.
Alright, well, it was slowly but surely going in Franzj's direction. It looked really like they almost catastrophically made a huge mistake there in Garage when they cut left. I think they made the mistake of having Sam go first and then Lolgai rather than the other way around. So they lost all their damage onto that side of Yard. They salvaged a little bit with their better Uber, and they honestly went all in, and it was kind of sketchy towards the end, but the round reset will go ahead and save them, so we're off to their mid. Once again, Sam will roll on the lower side of things, and Art is still very comfortable doing the catwalk mid on top of the crates, pretty much uncontested for the most part until the bombs come through. So far, both these teams have been pretty adamant about staying on their own side of the mid up until it's time to bomb the low guy. We'll see Gungan immediately melt in his face, but speaking of melting, it's the entirety of the explosive lineup from the side of Jiminy that will fall. Blank gets a nice little pick on a Yum. The bomb comes through to Donovan to try to catch him off, but Blank will end up dying after his pick. Sai and Divine running away, last two left alive, and Franzj, pretty convincing win here to take mid for themselves and move into Yard, and maybe poke round on two. They have an opportunity. They're definitely trying to take it, at least a little bit.
Yeah, Sam is setting up some sticky traps over in second. Either both medics die or neither medics die. Both Divine and Logai managing to survive that mid as everyone else is here on Jiminy to try and hold down the fort. It is even Uber, so it is going to be on Franzj to start to get a little bit creative and figure out some way to gain some momentum, maybe a pick, maybe a little bit of cap time to force the Uber exchange. We've seen some Uber exchanges already on second kind of play out in the attacking team's favor, and it seems like they're going to be moving over into Lunchbox. Gungan has spotted that, kind of checking that flank area, so he knows that's where some of the combo was, but with that being spotted out, Franzj just going to go back over into Yard, get everyone nice and buffed up, and seems like they want to try and do something similar. Again, Donovan is over. He's looking about, he's trying to see if Gungan's close, and they're just going to slowly maybe try and do a little bit of a pressure cooker situation if they possibly can from all of these angles.
Yeah, gotta mind the traps on the exit sign. Exile is trying his hardest to clear him. Yum will help with that at least a little bit. Sam taking some damage in the shutter. He's fine for now, has no health pack available though. We'll definitely need arrows, and Exile needs some health too, so they'll cut things short. I will say, as we reach the moment where there's 7 minutes left remaining on the clock, Sam stacking in. Right now, this scoreline is looking okay for Jiminy's life here in the playoff race. If we hit infinite overtime and then Franzj won, Jiminy would still be in, because it'd be 3-1. It would go to the tiebreaker thing, and they would end up winning it, I think. So, overall,
Oh, Zam on Pyro.
It's gonna help a lot. Zam did go Pyro, might not be necessary considering the pick they have, but a lot of damage on a Donovan. Needs the arrow. We're trying to hold on to this despite the lack of severe explosive damage here. Yite will finally arrive, and it seems like there's a bit of a reset from Franzj. They have their Pyro arriving. See what he's able to do here. Where is Zam even? There's Zam.
Yeah, he is over in yard with the fire axe out and the scorch up, and now he's rotating over to shoulder to just try and reflect all of that spam out. He's now making his way onto the point, just kind of reflect all the stickies and lock and loads that Artist and the soldiers are gonna fly towards his way. Staying alive, being a little bit of a nuisance, maybe a cause for someone else in Franzj to maybe take advantage of that spam being reflected back, but at the moment, it's just going to be Zam doing his best over on the point. Franzj not making any ground really, just flying some scorch shots over and setting some people on fire. Being annoying, but annoying doesn't necessarily give you the round. But Donovan over in Lunchbox going to be taking a little bit of spam trade with Gungan, both with the help of heals. Oh, Zam, he wanted it.
He needs one reflected rocket. I don't think he's hit one yet. That's like the main. Okay, okay. He's doing good for now. They lost Exile, also a Blankstead. Pyro needs to get healed up. 5v5 scenario. Minute left on the clock, though. Really got to find something here. Soldier bombs in, trying to get onto Divine, who's loaded up.
What?
Donovan kills him.
What?
Divine drops. They've lost all their scouts, though. They don't have the scout speed. The flanks are happening side behind.
It's going to be a Pyro Uber.
It's a Pyro Uber, and he's chasing a scout into Z. This is the most awkward Uber that I've seen in a long time, but technically, they're not out of it yet. They can't take two, that's for sure. They've lost too much. Side behind. Hits Exile in the back. Can he get Logan? Logan is dead! Blank comes in with the 1-2 as well. They're crumbling right now, and Zam just walks into a trap. What happened to Franzj? Jiminy, they have a chokehold in the second, able to push back out, but only 30 seconds left. Can they take mid?
Yum Yum is hiding over in yard. He could go for the back cap right now. He's hiding. They haven't spotted him. Seems like he is going to go. It is going to be a 1v1 versus Yum Yum and Psy over on the second point. Yum Yum trying to do it. They might be able to capture up mid unless they block it. Zam is going to bomb the point. No, they get it regardless. Yum Yum does win the one against Psy, but everyone on front is committed to try and block this point. They're all falling. Exile, the last one up on the point. They do manage to get Artist, so that is going to be a little bit of a consolation prize, but Divine already at 70% Uber. They're going to have to give up second. Yum Yum still in the backlines, just taking a one against Yite. If he wins this, no, is going to lose it. If he won that, he might be able to slow down Jiminy a bit more, but at the moment, it's looking really good for Jiminy to try and take this in and get a second round, tie it up again.
And if they get the second round, it makes it very, very solidified that they are definitely in a pretty good spot to secure their playoff seeding. The 2 rounds is getting really, really close to the safety net they kind of need, especially if they get to a win for this match overall. The Super comes in, doesn't get a whole lot of kills. In fact, it'll be Artist the first one to fall here, but the cap time reigns king. Everyone's focused on the Delman flying through the air. They're not focused on the scouts on the floor. A 2-2 game. Anyone's game at this point. Off to the mid we go with 3 minutes 30 left remaining.
It is very, very close. If you are a Cell or a Cell enjoyer, a Cell fan, you have to be hoping that Franzj get a round within the next 3 minutes. Roundabout, because otherwise it's going to go into continuous overtime, and like you said, that's going to be enough for Jiminy to walk away as the victors in terms of playoffs, even if they do lose it. But the soldiers from Franzj just bombing in, trying to get onto Divine. Divine taking a lot of damage, but no kill just quite yet. He's all the way back over in his yard. Franzj have so much space. Artist waiting for the arrow. He does get it. Yite going to be initiating, jumping over on the high ground. They capture it up. Franzj do, but so much damage coming in on top of them. Exile tries to take down Yite. He's super weak, not enough to get the kill. A nice arrow from the Divine to seal it up, and that's going to be Franzj losing it right back. Jiminy capturing it right back up, and Franzj just going to have to be content to set on their yard, and looking really, really good for Jiminy.
Yeah, they lost the high ground control, got a bit separated, and losing Sam and Exile there, going to
really
nice
bite
shot for this yard hold. I mean, Yite, he did his job. He he ate a bit there, but he's A-okay at the end of the day after the arrow and such. So yard taken off of the picks they gained from the mid, and Franzj a bit on the back foot here. It's really looking good for Jiminy fans, not only for this match, but for their attempts to stay alive in this playoff race. Got to try to break this stalemate, but honestly, if they did the math themselves, they could say that if they stalemate and do nothing right now, just sit in yard, they make playoffs. Because
Yeah.
if this scoreline of them having the 2 rounds, Franzj would need 4 rounds to knock Jiminy out of playoffs. So if you do infinite overtime right now and the winner collects 3 rounds, they're safe. But they're not focused on long term. They're keeping their mind on the match, very disciplined, not focusing on outside factors. This Uber exchange almost comes out through lower, poking around on the right-hand side from the blue team, but will not pull the trigger because they do not see the red team. In fact, Zam is going to end up dying here on the defense. Divine kind of alone in Lunchbox. Where did his team go? Yite's finally here. Someone to help him. Artist is going to fall. A very huge pick from Exile. Overall 2-for-2 trade. Slightly in favor of the blue team. Yite going to get aggressive, being above them. Now the question is, will he commit from behind or in front? Exile is going to nip that in the bud before it even becomes a problem. He's on the pill. The Uber comes out trying to find the exchange. Overall trade and players in the back line. Exile will try to come back to his team long term here to make sure they get able to fight this post. Blank almost ran down, will actually get killed by Exile here, and overall the exchange leads to not a whole lot. As Franzj work their way out of Z, cutting into left yard here, and they'll take left yard for their own, but don't quite think they can actually go on to mid. So overall, I mean, bits of time off the clock, lost a little bit of ground, but 30 seconds left until infinite overtime. There is no possible way for Jiminy to not make playoffs now. It's officially official. Because even in a 3-2 scoreline where Franzj wins, that's still enough for Jiminy to have a higher win round percentage, so your playoffs are secured.
Yeah, playoffs are secured. Gonna be Jiminy, Leica G6, Franzj, and Froyotech over in it, as we are now officially in continuous overtime, but seeding can still be determined here. I think just a little bit. Jiminy can't get third, but Franzj might be able to get second if they're able to maybe win this, and that might be enough to get them over at Leica G6. Regardless, it's been such a close, tense match, and I think both teams are not going to be content with losing it just because playoffs has been decided, as now here comes a bomb in from Gungan, going in pretty deep, not enough to get a kill onto anyone, a little bit of damage off onto Sam. Zam goes in as well, just meets a pipe from Artist, so not going to have any luck there. Still going to be even Ubers across the board, and this is one of the, I just think, hardest stalemates to break, but Psy trying to run in, maybe try and take control of the left side of Yard, and they have been able to get in cleanly. Their combo has forcing everyone on Franzj to back up. They're pressuring over towards Z. Yite over there, spamming rockets out, but I think they're just going to be happy to take control of Yard. There's only 30 seconds left, so you can see why they're getting aggressive now. They don't want to go to a round reset. They're over in Lunchbox. Yite maybe in position to take the Uber exchange with the solo.
This Uber, though.
He's jumping down. The flashes do come out from Franzj. It's kind of a family Uber over there. Psy causing a little bit of havoc over on the high ground, just trying to dodge all the spam. Yite running forward, doing a lot of damage on the Yum Yum. Might be able to get the trade, but he gets traded out immediately.
Well, guy's gonna bleed out. He got ornamented.
He does.
Yeah, 2 left alive from the side of Franzj. Just Exile now, and it seems like that exchange, it started a little bit on the sloppier side of things, but boy, did it work out, and what an end to this match. There is for infinite overtime. The exchange worked out. No one's on last in Jiminy. Not only did they secure their spot earlier on by having such a close game, but obviously coming on top with the victory. That's the second time they beat Franzj in matches this season. Definitely proved their dominance here tonight.
They definitely did. They've 100% earned their slot into playoffs. If you are the Cell or Cell fan, obviously it's very unfortunate. But if you're a Jiminy fan or Jiminy, then it's really good to finally have it solidified. You know, you can stop having to worry.
A sigh of relief.
There you go. It is a sigh of relief. I'm sure Psy is doing exactly that after what was a very, very close game. But props to them. Props for having such a good season. Obviously, Franzj as well. I think this means that they are going to be third, so not too bad, all things considered. But just immediately looking at it, kind of a stats, Gungan having a really great game. 280 DPM. You kind of expect soldiers to be able to pop off in such a close-knit, choky scenario. But Donovan as well, 320, doing wonders for his team.
Yep. Talked about how we didn't get to see him on Granary too much on a choky map like this, but there's a reason why I pointed it out, and he didn't even, normally when you think about pocket soldiers on Granary, most of the time you think about the shotgun era, where it's like, hey, okay, yeah, you'd you did so good with all the damage and kills and stuff because the game literally revolved around you on this map, and you took 30% heals, but he didn't even take a crazy amount, realistically. I mean, obviously, he took the most on his team, but that's kind of to be expected on this map still. So definitely showed what he was worth, and it was enough to kind of net things for the team overall. The damage department definitely helped in a lot of the team fights, but overall, there's some team play involved that requires, some finesse to make sure that you can net the victory at the end of the day. And it's funny because Jiminy, I think their mistakes were the most glaring in terms of like, oh, what? They lost that? That's crazy. But I think that's a testament to their skill level, because they can go through all that and lose those 2 rounds making those mistakes and still come up with 3 others in different directions, in different ways to find the success that you need to. It's Psy carrying the kills for his team. Definitely, he didn't get to have the flashy DPM padding like he would normally do when he would play Soldier on this map, but definitely did his job with the exchange, was pretty aggressive with them, played in kind of the same way, and to be expected, and it helps them net their team the victory tonight.
It does indeed. I mean, everyone on a Jiminy being able to band together and just be the overall better package. I will say, though, that the mids were looking honestly pretty good at the side of Franzj. It was scrappy majority of the time. Like, I don't think any team had necessarily like a very clean mid win, where they were able to kind of kill the enemy team's medic and keep their own alive. But even when it kind of went down to the kind of scrappy DM, I just gotta shoot all your players and hope you don't shoot mine type of thing, it seems like Franzj were able to come out on top. I think 5 times out of 4, or sorry, 4 times out of 5. That's the right way that happens, as they won all of them except one. So they were having really great success there, and that's kind of why it went on so long. Is once you kind of get that foothold of mid, especially on Granary, where you can maybe get mid and yard as well. That's 2 kind of quote-unquote points that you have to retake back. Just makes it slow down. But like you said, Jiminy were able to go the distance, kind of fight back from those positions, and they have 100% earned their spot in the playoffs.
Yep, can't whittle your way at the map and taking ground very slowly, because the timer kind of puts a thorn in your side. So it's the big victories that really count, and the last round being the big victory of you win the fight on 2, and last is there's literally no a single soul there, is what helps really seal the deal. But overall, really good match between 2 playoff teams, and excited to see what happens later. But in terms of the regular season, that is kind of curtains, realistically. Now we enter the playoffs era of this season. It's April 5th and 6th, the weekend. Don't think the times are quite in stone, but generally, since multiple best of 3s are going to happen in a singular day, it is going to start slightly earlier. Maybe give it 4 or 5 hours or so, and keep an eye on the stream and the scheduling of when the time actually cements. But I'm excited to see who's going to be crowned champion of this season.
Yeah, so am I. I mean, just to run it down, Froyotech are in first seed. They were undefeated in the regular season, and they've looked really, really good against everyone that they've played against. Jiminy is the only one that's really kind of given them a run for their money. I mean, all eyes are going to be on G6, the second seed, who kind of had some upset losses to Franzj, but historically speaking, I think once G6 maybe start to get on the grind after a regular season, because as they said, they were going to take that chill. They didn't need to take it anything hotter than that, because they were able to get into second seed, which I think was maybe the minimum for them, all things considered. They might be able to maybe take Froyotech down a map or 2. Franzj, they've looked so good, and Jiminy as well have both the potential, I think, to upset anyone above them. So I 100% agree with you, Jared. It's going to be very, very exciting to see how it all plays out. And I think it's just going to be a really great couple of days of TF2.
Yep, gonna have to bide our time until then. So gotta find something to do, but definitely want to make sure you're here for the first weekend of April, and it's all gonna shake down then. But I think for the most part, that's gonna be kind of curtains for tonight. No more content to really watch. It's been a good regular season, but got to bring it to a close to bring in playoffs time. So any final thoughts or shout outs, TC, before we go and close out the stream?
Yeah, I mean, first off, shout outs to Jiminy for making it into playoffs. Very, very close, but they were able to clutch it out. Shout outs to all the teams, really, in Invite. It's been very, very fun to cast. Very exciting games all across the board, and I'm expecting to see a lot more of that going into playoffs. Shout outs to you, Jarrett. It's been amazing to cast with you throughout this season, and I'm very excited to do it again during playoffs. Shout outs to Dolphin, all the stuff that he does behind the scenes and setting everything up. So huge shout outs to him. Shout outs to the RGL merch. You know, the season's winding down, which means that we got playoffs to look forward to, but it also means that, you know, those merch items are at risk of being traded out for something else. So if you see something you like, better to get it now, because that design might not be there the next time that you tune in. Aside from that, shout outs to all the people in chat, all the people who watch. That's going to be it for me.
And thank you to all the viewers and all the people who played this season to make this season happen. Definitely good luck to all the playoff teams that are going to be showing up in about 2 weeks' time. But I think that's going to be pretty much it for us tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Jarrett, casting with TC Mono with Dolphin on production. Thank you, good night, and we hope to see you in 2 weeks' time.